Hello everybody, my name is John.
The Apple iPhone.
You may have heard me mention Techno Buffalo.
So I got into tech YouTube because I legitimately love technology. I was the kind of guy who still does, would go walk around Best Buy just to relax after a really stressful day. And after making thousands of videos, I've tested a lot of products, and I wanted to share just some of my general favorite tech that I use every day right now. There's no sponsors here. These are just some of my favorite things that I use. I tried to make it not the obvious ones, so there isn't like an Apple Watch or a tablet here or a phone. This is just sort of maybe a little bit more obscure tech that has a spot in my life and maybe even deserves a spot in yours. You might have noticed this on my finger in pretty much every video for the past 4 months. This is the Oura Ring. It got my attention actually last NBA season when NBA players were using it to help detect early signs of COVID temperature rises in the bubble. But for me, it's been really helpful as a sleep tracker. So I've been pretty vocal online about suffering with insomnia and some anxiety I think that is causing my insomnia. It's something I've been struggling with for the better part of 8 or 9 years. It gives me information that I never had before about my sleep. So I'm able to actually visualize how much deep sleep I'm getting if I'm awake when I fall asleep. Then in the morning, actually see a number of how much I slept, and it gives me a sleep score and quantifies my readiness for the day. It's given me a lot more knowledge about my sleep, which is in turn give me a bit more peace of mind to help me sleep. It is crazy thin and small. The fact that so much technology is crammed into a little ring is unbelievable. It does a lot more than just sleep, but sleep for me has been the most useful. I wear it all the time. You can wear it to shower, you can wash your hands with it, whatever. I pretty much just charge it for like 15 minutes a day, and that's it. Sort of rounding out my sleep side of things, I've been a big fan of the Bose Sleep Buds. This is the Sleep Buds 2. The original had a bunch of problems. They wouldn't charge in their case. These have fixed those problems. What they are is essentially white noise machines that go into your ears and sit flush. Now there are some settings you can change to sort of have them give notifications or alarm as well, but for me it is just straight white noise. And a lot of people ask why I don't use AirPods or headphones. The reason is I sleep on my side, so my head is down, and these sit totally flush. They're not sticking out weirdly, and it's just white noise. I'm a really light sleeper. This has helped me get better sleep. You can do a lot more inside of the Bose app. Honestly, I have it just set to white noise. I just leave it there. These have been invaluable. When I used to, traveling was a thing. These always went with me. When I'm sleeping now, these are always by my nightstand. These are in my head every single night. And if you struggle with sleep or you're a light sleeper, definitely check out the Bose Sleep Buds 2. All right, so playing chess is fun, but what about a chessboard that can actually play back? So this is Square Off. I've had this one for about a year. So first let me get this out of the way. It's not like the cheapest thing in the world. It's 429-ish bucks, depending on sales that are going on. Connects to your phone, and on the very basic level, you can play against AI. You can move your pieces, there's magnets in the board and the pieces, and they will move against you. You can pick your difficulty, and that's awesome enough. What makes this even cooler is that you can sync it up with chess.com, and you can play people all over the world, and as they move like on their phone or computer, your pieces on the board will actually move in sync with what they're doing. It is awesome, it works, it looks like it's from the future. This is one of those things that is like not a necessary thing, but one that I am so happy that I've had. Especially during the pandemic, it was like a staple in my house. So obviously during the pandemic, I've been doing a lot of streaming, and I've been using my Roku Ultra to do all of it. We had to outfit some TVs here at the studio, and I opted to go for the Roku Ultra instead of the Apple TV. So prices are gonna vary depending on sales, but usually this is like half the price of the Apple TV. It has full support for AirPlay 2, which is awesome. Of course, it has the Apple TV app, so you can play all of your Apple TV stuff on there. It's got a remote that doesn't suck. And it works absolutely beautifully, and there's a ton of app support. If you are in the Apple ecosystem and you think you're tied to the Apple TV, and in my opinion, it's a horrible remote, you don't have to be. The Roku Ultra is an absolutely amazing way to go. I love the way the remote feels in my hand. So while I do love the remote for its ergonomics and it just works really well. It doesn't control multiple sources. It will do like your TV volume plus control the Roku box, but if you have like a sound bar or something, unfortunately it can't control both. But I have an option for you. This is the One for All Shimmer remote. I've never heard of this brand before. My parents have a TCL TV that's running the Roku TV OS, and they have a Sonos soundbar. I set them up with a Harmony remote, had a touchscreen, it worked perfectly for them. Now my grandfather is staying with them and he has familiar tremors. His hand shakes a lot and he could not touch the screen on the Harmony. They were FaceTiming me 3 or 4 times a night to figure out what was going on. The hub was becoming disconnected. It just didn't work well for them. So I found this remote, which essentially looks like a Roku remote, but it can control absolutely anything. So I paired it to their TCL TV and their Sonos, but it'll work with Apple TV. You won't get the Siri functionality or any of the voice stuff, but you can control it beautifully. It works with pretty much anything you can come up with. It's really cheap too, for like 25, 26 bucks, depending where you go. If you use a Roku or you just hate the Apple TV remote, this is an amazing way to go, and it's made my grandfather incredibly happy, and that's why it's got a spot on this list. This next one we did a whole video on, but at my house, I have Tesla Solar plus 2 Powerwall battery packs. And you can see in the video why I did it. There are a bunch of tax incentives a few years ago, but it has been absolutely amazing to have. A few months ago, California had a bunch of wildfires and high winds, and my neighborhood was losing power. My house was one of the few on the neighborhood that still had electricity, and sort of brought up again why I love having this. So not only did it take my electric bill down from what used to be $400 or $500 a month down to essentially $0 or negative dollars. Electric company tends to owe me money most months, lets me drive my car for essentially free. I love going into the Tesla app and seeing how much electricity I'm generating when it's really sunny out. It's just been a really fun addition to have to my house. And I know it's obscure and expensive, but I've loved having it. And if you're in a position where you want to have solar and you want battery backups, I think this is the absolute best way to go. So Jetta is a company that's been making Tesla accessories for years. I drive a Model 3 now and it has dash cam functionality built in, which is awesome. Ordinarily, I've plugged in SSDs to it, usually Samsung SSDs, but Jetta actually made their own SSD that fits perfectly into their hub, which I also use, and it's just been really nice to have something that fits that seamlessly. I also really like Jetta as a company. I think they make really cool accessories, and it's a small business that I'd like to support. So I really just picked any one of Jetta's products. In this case, it's their SSD. So speaking of Tesla, I actually have another channel called Money Rush where I talk about personal finance. And we've got a video up there explaining Tesla stock and one coming soon talking about Elon Musk himself. I'm somebody who's made a lot of mistakes in personal finance. I've also had a few successes, and I want to help you guys make whatever money you have work for you, whether it's $5, $10, couple $1,000, whatever it might be. There are tips and tricks that I've learned that hopefully you guys can use as well. And if you want to check out Money Rush, we'll link to it down below. So this one's a little obscure, but it's the Portkeys BM53. It's a big name. Essentially, it's an external monitor for cameras. Our main A-cam we're filming this with. Blackmagic Ursa Mini G2. And this is a monitor that you can connect to it, and it gets really bright. So it's worked out awesomely for us outdoors. The big problem we had with the camera was that we couldn't really see anything when we were outdoors. The Portkeys monitor has fixed that. But my favorite thing about it is it has Bluetooth built in, so actually you can use the display itself to control actual camera settings. If you find yourself shooting outside a lot, no matter what camera you're using, this has been an absolutely amazing addition to our rig, and now I don't know how we even shot without it, especially when we're outdoors. All right, so I said everything was gonna be not obvious. This one's a little bit obvious, but I've been using it a lot more than I ever have any other console, and it's my PS5. I think being at home a lot has sort of gotten me back into console gaming. My PS5 is on at least 4 or 5 times a week, which is more than I've ever used any other generation of console. I love it, I'm playing it, it's been amazing. I'm not gonna talk too much about it, but PS5, you still deserve a spot on this list. So this next one is completely unnecessary, but I love it. We have it here in the studio. It is a simple human trash can. That sounds silly. So not only can you wave your hand over it and it'll open and close, which is great, but you can use voice commands to talk to your trash can. You could say open bin, it'll open, and close bin, it'll close. Like I said, completely unnecessary. They're proprietary bags that have to go in, it can be expensive to maintain. But I love it. I think it makes sense to have it here in a studio full of high-tech stuff. It makes me happy to use it. And if you're looking for something extra for your house that's maybe just a bit of tech where you wouldn't expect it, a simple human trash can, it's a pretty good way to go. So we shoot all of our footage here using Blackmagic cameras, some version of them. This is their latest camera. It's the Pocket 6K Pro. We've had the previous version of the Pocket and it was awesome. This one fixes all the issues with that camera. So first you've got an articulating LED. It doesn't flip all the way back for like selfie stuff, but for shooting up high or down low, it has been absolutely awesome. Better battery liability. It's using Sony batteries instead of Canon, which I personally prefer. Built-in ND filters though is the big reason that we upgraded to this camera. It's about 2,500 bucks, so it's expensive, but a really good deal if you want to shoot cinema quality stuff or studio quality stuff. I do wish it had autofocus built in. It still doesn't offer that, maybe the next version. But for the package and the price, this has just been an absolutely amazing camera to have. I've talked about these for years. This is the Ember mug. So my kids are fortunately in school. In the morning, my wife and I are running around like crazy, and we generally have cold coffee, which stinks. So we have a bunch of these Ember mugs. They are smart mugs that keep the coffee, or whatever beverage you want, hot for a couple hours, which has been absolutely amazing to have. We have 2 of the mugs and 1 of the travel mugs. Just been really good to have. I can enjoy hot coffee again. I bought mine a while ago, and the only knock I had on it was that they were really small. It wasn't really a full cup of coffee for me. They have a bigger size now, so if you're looking to buy one, I would get the bigger size. The travel mug has been great. The regular mugs have been awesome. I have hot coffee, which makes me happy in the morning. If you've got a problem of always having cold beverages that should be hot, Ember's got your back. So it is weird to have to do software updates for your mug. This is, again, seems like a theme. We did a whole video on tempo, and this was awesome to have, especially during like peak quarantine months. It's a full gym in my house. It's a smart display with sort of cameras that can sort of check your form. There are live classes on there. It's got a full weight set built in. It's got barbells and dumbbells on the back. It's just been a really nice addition, try to keep me a little bit of shape, or at least keep my shape less like ovally. I really like the classes. It's been awesome for sort of backs and arms and that stuff. My wife doesn't like it too much, doesn't have much in the way of sort of yoga classes, so if that's your thing, you may want to look elsewhere. But if you want sort of cardio and weight training stuff, Tempo has been absolutely amazing, awesome, and I could not recommend it enough. So this next one is Hyper's MagSafe Battery. The name is pretty obvious what it does. It's a MagSafe compatible battery. It slaps on the back of any of your iPhone 12s and it'll charge it. So it's not charging via MagSafe tech, so you're not gonna get the faster speeds that theoretically you could get with a non-existent Apple first-party charger, but it is gonna charge with Qi at 7.5 watts, which is pretty fast. Inside of the pack is a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, so it can charge an iPhone 12 like twice. It's got an LED indicator on it. It charges via USB-C, so you can use it like a regular external battery. It's kind of a chunky boy, but it works as advertised. If you wanna pick one up, it's about 40 bucks. So I mentioned the PS5 being one of my favorite things. I love the controllers. The batteries do not last very long, and so I wanted to get the official PlayStation 5 wireless controller dock thing that uses magnets. It looked awesome. In the meantime, I just bought the Nexi Go. It's half the price of the official Sony one, and surprise, surprise, it charges 2 PS5 controllers. It uses the magnetic technology like the official Sony one. It doesn't actually like stick with the magnets. You sort of have to place it down a little more carefully. But once you have it placed, it charges them, and what else do you expect? It works well, it works as advertised. It actually has like a little more care when you put your DualSense controller on, but they'll always be ready to go and whatever, save about 30 bucks. So I have 3 kids and a dog, and my house is generally a little bit on the dirty side. So robot vacuums have been awesome to have. I know that iRobot tends to get a lot of the glory. I've been using some products from Roborock. This is the S5. They have newer versions of this, but I've liked it. It's a LiDAR sensor on top. It can map my house, and it can go out and just clean and come right back. And I wish it could empty itself like some of the iRobot ones, but the quality of the actual like suck itself is really good, and our house looks visibly cleaner after this thing does its rounds. There are other models you can get that can do mopping for you too. This one we've just used as a vacuum, and it's been really good, really reliable. I think most importantly, it's not that expensive. So I mentioned having solar panels and Tesla Powerwalls. It's been awesome. I actually wanted to get something for my parents who don't have solar, but frequently have brownouts or blackouts. So this is the Jackery Solar Generator 1000 that also comes with solar panels, and it should be pretty obvious what this thing does. It's a big old battery pack that can charge via solar panel. So if it's sunny out, you can get power. They have different size power stations if you're interested. So this one costs $1,000, not cheap. And then the solar side of it is $300, so the whole thing about $1,300. But for my parents to have peace of mind, when my grandfather's living with them, they could always have power. It was worth it for me. So it's got a 1,002 watt-hour capacity and 1,000 watt-hour rated power, and multiple like outlets to charge stuff on. I mean, anything you would need. You've got actual outlets, you've got USB-C, you've got pretty much anything you can want to charge stuff off of. And you can easily run most accessories for a house for easily a day or so, at the very least a couple hours till power came back on. If you want some peace of mind for power outages, or you go camping quite a bit, check out Jackery. So that's my favorite tech that's less obvious, stuff that I use every day. Something that you guys are using every day, let me know in the comments, and perhaps if we get enough good stuff, I will try it and I'll update this video in the next few months.